Welcome back to Casting Confidential. Today we're bringing you a bonus round taken from a Q&A with our panelists Cheryl Louden-Kubin, Kimberly Skyrme, Robin Carus, and Kimberly Ehrlich that we did for our members. We're doing these along with feedback sessions monthly with our community, and we're loving seeing the actors. Hit the link in show notes to join us, but for now, enjoy this bonus episode. Looking to land your next big role? Casting Networks is where more high-quality roles are booked than any other casting service. With an annual membership, you'll unlock every tool you need to stand out. Unlimited headshots and reels, submission tracking, even the chance to link your socials and showcase your personal brand. On the go, the Casting Network's iOS app makes it easy to find and submit to roles anytime, anywhere. Right now, Casting Confidential listeners get $65 off an annual membership. Just use code CONFIDENTIAL at checkout or try it free for 14 days. Head to castingnetworks.com/confidential and get ready to get noticed. But hurry, this offer won't last long. Ready to take your next bold step as an artist? Shamika Wright, through Wright Positive Films, offers coaching built on being authentic, empowering, and intentional because your true story deserves to shine. Shamika helps performers tap into their real voice, build real confidence, and move forward with clarity and purpose. Don't wait. Your next chapter is ready for you. Visit wrightpositive.com, that's WRIGHT positive.com, and book your coaching session today with Shamika. The right guidance can change everything. And with that, let's jump right into today's show.
Let's go.
Hi, welcome to Casting Confidential. I'm your host, Rose Rosen, and today I have three special guests, our panelists, Cheryl Louden-Kubin, Robin Carus, and Kimberly Skyrme, joining me for a great discussion about your headshots. What should yours look like in order to land that coveted role? Let's get you on the road to Booked and Busy with this discussion about your headshots. Please enjoy our bonus episode about headshots. So I have a few questions, ladies, and so here, do slate shots with reels attached still bump you to the top of the submissions? My friends who are working don't have them, so not sure if I need them. This is very specifically in a program called Breakdown Services Actors Access. And I have to tell you, from my viewpoint, I always filter the headshots that come in by whatever filters I need. So yeah. I don't believe that happens to when you're submitting to me. I think it does happen if a casting director doesn't filter it. Do any of you, and honestly, we're not software developers, so we're not sure. But do you guys know the answer to this or not?
I think if you do a search, then that might, but I don't ever do a search like that. I will post a breakdown, and then I will go through all of the pictures and resumes that come in.
And the truth is, like, do we listen to the slate shots? Yeah, we do, because I think that sometimes we want to hear what somebody sounds like and looks like when they're not acting. And it's a nice way to kind of get a quick 15-second, like, this is who I am. Yeah. And so I think that it's actually a nice ad. And so, and you kind of get to say, oh, this is what they look like when they're not either made up or glammed up in a headshot, etc. And, you kind of get to see also if they do look like the headshot. So.
Okay, interesting.
But ultimately, as far as the search, I mean, we're picking the faces first is what's drawing us into them. So whether you have one or not is not the initial impact. I think. And we're not, certainly I've never heard, I certainly don't do it, but any of our friends going, oh, let me do a search of only people who have slate shots. And then I will look at those photos. So it just seems that would be an extra step before me scanning all of the actors who have a look for what I'm going for.
Correct.
Okay, follow-up question. What makes a headshot stand out to you when you're scrolling through dozens of profiles?
I think that the funny thing is I take kind of a less is more approach to everything. I think that really it's about the face and it's about the relationship with what the actor has with the camera or the photographer who's shooting. And I think that you always can tell that person that has a little bit more personality or je ne sais quoi, as they're taking their headshots. It's all about what like life behind the eyes, and what the eyes are doing. And I think that for all of those headshots that have like just, lots of background, it's just noise, and if you keep it simple and keep it clean, that's what we need, like and you should have a few different headshots. There's no doubt. You should, if you go out for, if there are moments you go out for edgier roles, have that edgy headshot. If you go out for like the nice, like housewife, yes, have that beautiful headshot that kind of looks a little bit more prim and proper. But in terms of having all the background, no, you don't need that. You don't need that. In terms of being completely made up so that way you look glossy, no. And in terms of using a model shot, for your more legit work, no, no.
Okay.
So-
Anybody else on that?
Well, I think it now specifically just to double down on what Robin said. I think in the old days it wasn't as bad. We had a whole 8.5 by 11, and so we're taking in the background and then focusing on you. But now the thumbnails are very small, and anything distracting from you in that tiny little space is exactly that, distracting from you. And having the variety, I do think, is very important, because yes, that Robin definitely talked about the more film and TV things, but if you're going to be doing commercials, you need to have photographs that people want to talk to you. They want to meet you. You're selling a brand. And ultimately, my favorite is when I see somebody's headshot and I just feel like they're saying to me, you need to meet me. So to have that interaction with the camera, like Robin said, is just really critical, that you need to work through that. You should be acting in your headshots also, so that I look at it and I think I have to meet this person.
And the same thing, Kimberly, if I could just tack on too, sorry. I'm sparring. But the same thing goes for theatrical, like when you're looking at things specifically for theater projects, it's the same deal as film and TV. No different, really isn't.
And I think you need to be able to replicate the look that you have in your picture, because if you show up and you don't look like that person at all, it's going to be very embarrassing for you, for me, and probably the director's the one who's going, where's this person,
If I had $1 for every time I heard,
Yes, we would all be on vacation right now filming this.
I'm telling you, just $1 for every time the director said,
who?
what?
Right.
Who? Really?
No, it is very important, particularly as we are in an arena where a lot of the listeners are not working on studio features and network TV shows that have hair and makeup always. If you're working on an independent film, you're probably in a situation where people are leveling up careers, or it could be a small enough production where no one is doing your hair and makeup. So if you can't replicate what was in the photo, and they were casting you off the photo because they weren't smart enough to have casting directors who would prep actors for this kind of thing, that you will be caught with your pants down, because you just won't be prepared and you won't be what they were looking for.
Yep. I love that. Okay. This is also a tag on, what are the subtle differences between headshots in LA, in New York, and Atlanta, the Southeast? Do you guys see that around the world? I mean, I don't think it's a big difference because we're so worldwide anymore. But what do you guys think that there are regional differences anymore?
I don't.
That is definitely fused way, but I mean, if we were to think back again, because people always love all the folklore. I mean, it was Los Angeles, correct me if I'm wrong, but that went to color headshots before anybody else. I mean,
Right.
a cool and moody town. I still give me a black and white headshot every wait till Tuesday because they look cool. But yes, it's not a representation of what people
Right.
look like in person. So
Okay, so that's an easy one. Should we take down outdated headshots on our IMDb or keep them up? And I would extrapolate that to, should we take down outdated headshots on our on our profiles and all the all the things? What do you guys think?
IMDb, I'm not so much going to IMDb to look at people's headshots. So that's sort of like the history and the body of someone's work.
Right.
But on profiles, absolutely, because you need the most current of who you are and what best represents you. Because if we're going to just name the site, breakdown services, Actors Access, casting networks, whatever the services of choice, if you currently have short hair and you at one point had long hair, what good does that do us? It doesn't do us any good because that's not a representation of who you are.
Have to be current. But um when I look to IMDb and say I'm looking up some child actor, I'm thinking, I wonder if they're still in the business and they'll do this little independent film. And, and so I go to IMDb first, and then I want to see what they look like today. So for sure, they can have their body of work in there and maybe not take it down because it's interesting what they did as a child and they have some acting chops. But I do want that profile picture to look like what they look like today, if they're still working. If they're not, then it's, not important. Makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it is an archival, a little review to see it on IMDb. So I think that is important. And certainly as we are looking at photos, that particularly if it is independent film and you want to see what else people have done, to have an array of shots in your gallery on IMDb. Why wouldn't you have them? If you have behind the scenes shots, it shows us that you're working and who you've been working with. So it's a great place just to showcase some things, but it is not your casting profile that you'd have on a platform. That should be, as Robin said, current. We want to have a snapshot of who you are right now.
Right.
So a small window of time would be applicable, but anything too long is too long.
Absolutely. White background. Do you guys like, hate? Is there a background color that you like best? What do you guys think?
Whatever is good and around,
I mean, we're a bunch of people on a yellow background. We really have no space to talk.
But I think for your photographs, though, you should know what works best for you, and everything should be cohesive because some people's skin tones are going to look better on different colors, wearing appropriate colors. I don't care if it's your favorite shirt in real life, make sure it looks great in your photograph. So all those things should really properly be marketing you as an actor.
There's two photographers I know that specifically take pictures on a white background, and that's their signature, and that's cool. You know what I mean? Like that's their signature look. You know that they are great photographers, so therefore the pictures themselves will come out magnificent. However, I think that for some of these younger photographers that aren't as sophisticated behind the lens yet, I think that when they are taking headshots, they've got to be really mindful about who their clients are and the idea that, like, like to have some of these beautiful jewel tones and saturated colors look good against certain types, and some of these very bright colors, i.e. even the yellow we're using right now, again, looks good with certain skin tones and says it gives off a different message. And so, and it may not be the message that the person wants. Again, if you're taking that edgy picture, does it say moody? No, it's happy, that
Just
kind of
think
thing.
about it. But I can't guarantee everybody's going to look good on my yellow background. And
We happen to look fantastic.
anyway, all right, that's it. Listen, you guys need to like, rate, and review the podcast. Thanks for joining us. This has been a bonus episode of Casting Confidential. We'll see you again next week. That's a wrap on today's episode of Casting Confidential. If you're loving the show, here's what you need to do. Follow us right now on your favorite podcast app so you never miss an episode. And if you're feeling inspired, take a minute to leave us a rating and review. It's the best way to help us grow and keep bringing you these behind the scenes stories. Join the conversation with us on Instagram at Casting Confidential and drop us your thoughts or questions. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time,
keep your craft sharp and your audition sharper. See you back here for another episode of Casting Confidential.
One of the greatest podcasts in television and film with Rose Rosen, CSA, and all the friends. Bringing you Casting Confidential. Casting, that's essential. Casting, so eventful. Kinda tune in to close friends, chillin' with Rose. We call it Casting Confidential. Get a notepad ready, grab a pen and pencil. For magic to jot down, tell a friend too. A wonderful podcast in TV and film, we call it Casting Confidential. Let's go.